Pooping. Oh, you're pooping too, aren't you? Hello? I'm here. Is it? No, it's just the mic. Oh, just has to be. Let me know which sounds better, this or this. One. Okay, so this. So right here. So 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Great. All right. Yeah, I have it running on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube. I have it shared on Twitter too. Yep. You said explaining movies or talking to kids about movies. Yeah, there you go. This is true. It's not, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is definitely working for me. Okay. Dora, Dora, you got a clue to what my recommendation is. Oh God, it's so good. Yeah. Huzzah. Doesn't that suck when that happens? Yeah. You, like you normally do? You normally go second, yeah. There you go. Did you know that Kevin Smith just released, as I'm looking, a thing where he says the DC comic is sitting on a gold mine, saying they should do a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton reprising Bruce Wayne? I think that's fucking genius. That's genius. Oh, Birdman. Well, I mean, and just Michael Keaton's resurgence in general. Uh, oh God, that would be awesome. I would see it. I'll email you. I could not find it. I was looking though. Let me look again. You mean the chat? Where am I going to find the chat at? On Twitch or on? Okay, hold on. So, ooh. Oh man, my whole screen just went crazy. Discussion? No, I'm on YouTube. Facebook is not that hard. I think that no, this is not. Hold on. Why am I not? I was on it, and then now I'm off of it. There we go. So I am watching it now. And on Twitch, I can see the stream chat on Twitch. YouTube, I'm assuming I can. Yep, I can see it on YouTube. So those are the two big, and then Facebook. All right. Okay. You do that. Okay, sounds good. Do. I think it's just you and I watching stuff here. No. Well, technically we're already live. Oh, really? Well, I don't have the volume on because otherwise it'll be born ahead on my phone. I could hear it. I could hear me anyway. Oh, okay. I think if I can pull on, there's an easy way to check. Easy way to check. I'll go on Facebook and see if I can hear myself. I'm gonna go on Facebook and see if I can hear myself. I can definitely. Yes, I can hear us. We've been live. I talked about pooping on the air. I talked about pooping. It's okay. No one's here but us right now, so it's still just us, Chris. It's still just us. Yeah, we are. Awesome. Awesome. He just wasn't feeling. I mean, he's got what I think whatever Thea has. So before I shipped him off to daycare, I wanted to make sure that he was feeling okay and not just having a cold. Whatever. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I'm saying I think that it's just now it's hitting him. So we decided to let him sleep in later as opposed to trying to wake him up early. Um, so yeah, he's just feeling a little like his mood's okay. That's more what I was waiting to see is what his mood was like, and then I'm just hoping that he doesn't break a fever. So we'll find out. I'm sure I'll get a text if he does. But you know, well, yeah. But I mean, with work starting full bore, I need the day to get stuff up and running. I got most of it going, but still waiting on some stuff. I feel like Monday's the real start day. Today's like super syllabus day. No one cares yet. No one cares. That's nice. I mean, I don't either. I just have the online educational classes. Yeah, yeah, they did technically, but I'm whatever. Open it on Monday. They won't care. They won't care. I don't even know. I don't even care. I know they don't. I haven't gotten an email yet, which means no one cares yet. Did you? That's good. You should respond. I implemented a oh, nap sounds so nice. I implemented a random I don't respond to emails after 10 p.m. rule. Oh, yeah, I leave it open a little bit later. Hmm. And I'm out. I know. I'm too old. I'm too old to stay up late. That's a good way to do it. Exactly. Yeah, let's do it. I'm Nick.
And this is our first live show for episode 47.
Yay!
Yeah, if you're seeing this, then you probably have a better idea of what episode it is than I do, because I always forget that crap.
You do. It's okay. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot.
Yeah, it turns out this is surprisingly difficult trying to remember to, like, hey, I have to change this setting and that setting and do this and make sure I have redundancies in case this thing shuts down, which has a pretty high propensity of doing.
And using big words like redundancy.
I mean, look, big words are fancy, okay?
They
I'm a
are.
fancy person.
You are fancy.
That's why I'm wearing an undershirt right now, because, I'm a fancy person. I don't want to show all the chest hair.
Well, you should do the Henry Cavill thing where like you just have some of it sticking out.
Say that name again.
Henry Cavill.
Is that really how you
It's
pronounce
your
it?
it's your Cavill or Cavill.
I always heard it Cavill.
It might be Cavill. Anyway, like
Anyways,
how he has like
is
the
he
like
British?
well
I thought he
technically
was
he's
British.
British, but he's got that chest here that like just pokes up
Oh,
out of the
is he Cavill? Oh,
probably.
that's not even a
That's not even a
dialect.
dialect. That's like I don't even know what you call it, but yeah, just pull some of it right out of your shirt, so you just get like a little pokage. It's just like showing just a little bit of your manliness, so everyone can
Okay.
see.
Yeah, no, I'm down with that.
And maybe it can
I'll
like
try it.
it can blend into your beard, so it's like one continuous strip.
Did I ever tell you about my friend's three button rule?
No,
I had a friend.
I know what friend this is, but
Of course you do, because there's only one friend it could possibly be.
I know as soon as you said three button, I started going. I know who this is.
I had a friend in college who had a rule of that a gentleman only ever wore three buttons, and so he, like, whether he had his shirt had like eight buttons or four buttons or whatever, it was only the three middle buttons that could be done, and so he had his full chest and half of his tummy out, and it was just the most stylish look in the world. It was wonderfully, like, it was perfect for him, but it was like it was probably the best motivation not to, like, get a beer gut ever.
Yeah, he kind of has a beer gut though.
Not by the time that he left.
Okay, well there you go.
Um, but yeah, anyway, so this is the point of all this is that
You should do the three button rule from now on.
I should totally just walk into class and they're like, "Yo, I'm a gentleman. I only do three."
Oh, please
But
God, do that. Please do that.
one day, one day.
Just one day.
So we are live, and so that means there are going to be technical issues as we work this out. Hopefully, the proper recording that I get to edit and sit down and, like, do audio stuff too. Hopefully that'll be better. So let us know in the chat. Let us know wherever you can about how the audio quality is. I'm going to try and start working on figuring out how I can do some audio editing while we're streaming this. But in the meantime, enjoy the live quality of this. The fact that we're out here in real time talking with y'all. Cool. So
Nice.
it's time to dive into the regular episode. Did I ever even say the episode 47 for January
You
2nd?
did. You did say the episode.
Yeah. See, this is the stuff I would normally cut if we weren't live.
Exactly. But it adds character and stuff and things.
Yeah. No, this is us. We screw up.
Yeah.
That being said, let's dive into the episode.
Let's do
Get
it.
into the adventures in dadding. Nick, what's your adventure this week?
So my adventure this week actually involves your kid.
What?
Yeah. So, I mean, because if I do the general one, like general things, Miles asking more questions now, fighting being sick, just being a toddler. But I got to, I got to take both kids home. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, or pick them up. So normally, your wife brings Miles home on her way back. So because with work schedules, but anyway, so I went and picked them up to do you guys a favor, which is great. And so I love picking both kids up. And the reason I love picking both kids up is you get to see a different side of both kids that you wouldn't normally see. And so what I mean is, normally when I drop Miles off, he's like if he's not cranky and kind of whiny because that's just him. He's pretty sociable. Like he'll get into the door and he'll run and see the teacher, and then he'll go over and start playing with or around the other kids and he just likes it. So he's really sociable. But usually, when I've seen Thea in big social situations, it takes her longer to warm up, like the birthday party, for example. So And even with me, even though Thea knows me, if I show up, she's more shy and reserved than she is in her own environment. But I like picking them up because when I pick them up, it's a totally different experience, especially with Thea and Miles. So this is why my Adventures Daddy is actually your kid. So I get them and I show up, and Thea's super excited for me to pick her up, which always makes me feel good because for whatever reason, it's like, it's special, it's different. So Thea's got like her coat on and is ready to go. She like jumps out and she's like, "Hi." I was like, "Hi, Thea." So Miles freaks out because I leave to put her car seat in. He thinks he's getting left. Anyway, we get in the car, and because that's how it goes, and he's losing his mind. So I get him in the car, and I get Thea in the car, and we're driving. That's what happens. Well, I walk in, and he sees me. He's like, "Daddy!" and runs up, and then I have to go put the car seat in, but then I have to leave, and then at this point he loses his mind. Mr. P, his teacher still finally gets him in his coat, which is great. Anyway, so we're in the car, and it was a fun thing because you've talked about this on the show, but I haven't actually really gotten to experience it. And so we're driving, and Thea's like asking me questions. And some of it I understand, some of it I'm just like, yeah, you just say yes to be positive and encourage talking. Yeah, when you're like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I kind of get it. But then she starts asking why. She'll be like, "Dippa dippa dippa dippa, why?" And I was like, I don't know. What do you think? Well, why? It gets better. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, this is fantastic. And then finally, oh god, it's so good because Miles is just he's because Miles has just started this like 2 days ago, but Thea's like full in like why, which I think is awesome, because I just like talking, and so then Miles starts crabbing a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Miles is just starting it. Like I gave him water today. He's like, "What are you doing, Daddy?" I was like, "Filling up your water." He goes, "Why?" I was like, "So you have fresh water." But this just happened today. So anyway, Thea, so we're talking, and Miles starts crying a little bit because he's kind of crabby. Thea's like, "Why is Miles crying?" I was like, "Because he wants a pack, and I don't have it right now, but we'll get it when he gets home." Okay. And then she's like, "Are we going to Miles' house?" It's like, "No, we're taking you to your house to see your dad." She goes, "Okay." And then finally, so I was like, "Thea." She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Who's your best friend?" And she goes, "Miles." And I was like, "That's awesome." But then it gets better. I go, "Thea." She goes, "Yeah." I go, "Who are we going to see when you get home?" She goes, "Daddy." I said, "Okay." "Thea, who's your daddy's best friend?" And she goes, "You." And I was like, good answer. I know. So my adventures in dadding was actually talking to your kid because I got to experience I got to experience her being really social in a way that I haven't got to experience yet being around her, if that makes sense. And it was really fun to drive home and have like a conversation with her because that's the first time I've gotten to really do that. And it was really cool to watch her be able to ask questions, whether I could understand all of them or not, be able to ask questions and then continue the question, right? Because that's something that is Miles is just starting to do. So I hadn't experienced as grown up with that little kid yet, and I just thought it was really fucking cool. But I also thought it was cool how she could make connections like who's your friend? Oh, Miles is your friend, which I know you guys have said, but because she's a little more reserved, you don't always get to see that. But because I think she was in a situation where the safety net of her parents weren't there, it's you see a different side of it, like all kids do, because kids are different when they don't have their parents there. And so it was just cool. It was cool to see that side of Thea that we hear about a lot, but I don't get to see all the time. And it was fun. It was just fun to hear her be like, "Why? Why? Why is there traffic? I don't know, Thea." Oh no, it was just I was Oh no, you don't have another friend. I know what's up. Don't worry about it. Yes, you do. You have your old office mate at school. But no, but I will say it's cool to watch her make those connections because we had talked about that just last week. It was just really fucking cool. I don't know. It was cool to like because I've seen her since she was born, and to watch her start building those connections and have an actual conversation that's not a mimic conversation, right? It's cool. I don't know. I thought it was really fun to see this kid. I see your kid in a different situation. and how cool she is with it. Like she's like, all right, yeah, let's go. And then she was bummed she wasn't coming to Miles' house, but you know what can you do?
So my adventure today is I made a hit list with Miles, asking him who your other friends were. So I have
Well,
a list, I have a
it's
plan,
it's
and
Baby
all I
Shark,
had to say is watch out at that next family barbecue.
Baby Sharky, Elmo,
Yeah, it's all Baby Sharky.
uh,
Um,
and Aaron because he really likes Aaron.
right. Well,
Aaron
that's
gets
true. He
Aaron
does
gets
he
I
does
love
like
you
Aaron.
when he gets dropped off.
Um, yeah. So my adventure in dadding is is kind of literally the same thing, and more
Oh, nice.
importantly, is the inspiration for this for this episode. So we're
Mhm.
gonna kind of use it to dive in.
Okay.
Um, so specifically, like you kind of said, Thea's been making connections lately. Like she's starting to understand and put things together in ways that I was not ready for and realized is problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been sick this week. So because she's been sick, we've been sitting on the couch resting, watching a lot of TV, watching a lot of movies, and so the usual things are on rotation. Spy Kids, a lot of Spy Kids, Mission Critical, that Netflix TV show that she just cannot stop watching.
I don't know that
Um,
one.
it's good. It's great. I actually really like it. It's the right combination of like gender neutral, there's a team of leadership, and it's a boy and a girl who are siblings.
Okay.
Um, there's a lot of violence, but it's all really like cartoony violence where it's like, oh, we're using laser blasters and nobody ever really seems to get hurt, even though it's very evident what the intention is. Um, and like all of the purposes are very clearly defined, so it's not very complex.
Okay.
On the other hand, we watched one of her old staples again. We watched Tangled. For those who haven't seen Tangled or don't remember Tangled, Tangled is the Disney movie for Rapunzel. So we're watching it, and there's and Thea's doing exactly what you were talking about. What's going on? Okay, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she sad? Why is she sad? Okay, why would they do that to make them sad? And at one point or another, we get towards the end of the film, and there's a scene where Rapunzel's parents, like the king and the queen, I guess I should so for anybody who doesn't know the basic plot to the film, it's a little more complicated than I suppose the original. Actually, to be honest, I'm not sure I actually know the original fairy tale.
I only know the basics of it, but
So the film, at least, though, is like okay, there's a magical flower, and so uh, they use it to heal the queen, and the magical flower will keep people young. And so there's a crazy lady named Mother Gothel who keeps using it to be young forever. And when the kingdom steals the flower or uses the flower to heal the queen, it imbues her daughter with magical hair that can heal people and keep them young forever, so long as it's never cut. So when Mother Gothel goes to try and steal a little piece of the hair, finds out that if you cut it, it doesn't work anymore. She has to kidnap the little girl, and the little girl is, of course, put in the tower. Rapunzel has long hair, yada, 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 yada.
and the story unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just a fairy tale with, usual Disney trappings of boy finds girl, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the important part of the story is that there's a moment in the film where like the king and queen release lanterns every year on the girl's birthday to help her find her way home. Oh. And so Rapunzel wants to go see them, and so the movie shows you how sad the king and queen are as they're preparing to release the lanterns.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready for this moment yet because Thea asked me, "Oh, they're sad." I'm like, "Yeah, the king's sad. Why is he sad?" Uh, well,
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't have his daughter here. Why? Well, his daughter was kidnapped. Why? Well, because Mother Gold took her. Why? And it's like just going down this rabbit hole of like this terrifying thing that's kind of every child's worst nightmare of like you're getting taken away from your parents and you never get to see them again. And so usually I was just like, okay, I tell her this and she's like, whatever. She
Yeah.
doesn't really get it. Unfortunately, she kind of started to get it. And
Yeah.
so every time, like,
Mm-hmm.
And so Aaron comes home like right at the end, and of course when Aaron gets home, she wants to talk. I'm like, nope, Aaron, we have to see the end of this film because Thea needs to see that she gets to be with mom and dad again, and that they get to be happy. So I literally like look at Aaron like, you don't get to talk for the next 15 minutes, until we watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And so that brings us uh, to our conversation for today. And that is, how do you talk about these movies with kids? Because let's face it, Tangled, this Rapunzel story is a Disney movie aimed exactly at this targeted area or this targeted age, and like that is a weird thing. Like, how do you talk about that with a kid without giving them nightmares for the rest of their life?
Well, I mean, my answer's gonna sound like
Let me tee
okay.
this up for you.
Before I sound like a super douche.
Oh, okay. I'm really gonna tee this up for you then.
Yeah.
All right. So Nick, you have a son who is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fearless and wonderful and courageous. How do you make sure that this kid grows up to be an upstanding citizen while watching the movies that he watches?
Well, that's a really big question. Well, first of all,
Be a douche now, huh?
well, I'm trying to. This was not where I was going to go with this. Okay, well, so the movies he watches right now are Lion King, Monsters Inc., The Grinch Stole Christmas, and Land Before Time 14. So I feel pretty good about his viewing experience and the lessons he's learning from each of those movies. Um,
Are you though?
well, yeah, I mean, what? So okay, so let's break them down. So The Grinch Stole Christmas is basically
Let's use The Grinch Who Stole Christmas as an
okay.
example because I think that's a nice, ubiquitous show.
Okay, so at the given moment, he
Are you
doesn't give
watching
a
the original or the new one of the new
oh
ones?
the original,
Okay, good.
the
Good.
15-minute one.
Are you
So
watching that on the loop?
yes, yeah, he puts it on. He goes, he watches it. He goes, watch the Grinch, and then it gets over. And he goes, watch the Grinch again. Okay, Miles. Um, but it's nice because then you at night you can be like, all right, watch it one more time. And you have to go to bed. All right, so first of all, he's not asking me any weird questions about the Grinch. He's only asked one question about one movie, and it's when Mufasa dies in The Lion King. That was a moment. Um, but I think you use movies like you do anything. You use them, they're storytelling. So you use them, especially if it's a movie with a lesson, to teach said lesson. So I could be wrong about the point of The Grinch, but You Love Christmas, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
Is
don't worry.
is that you have this Grinch? I was gonna say person, but I guess he's not a person. He's a who or a messed up who hates Christmas and wants nothing to do with it and is jealous that all of these people love Christmas. And through jealousy, he drives him to do bad things, which hurts people. But in the end, he sees that the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of doing good, is more powerful than all the stuff, and that changes his heart. So it shows that there through goodness you can change, that change is possible, that no matter how bad you may have seemed or what you've done wrong, that you can be forgiven and you can change, and that's a really good lesson. Or if you watch Lion King's, it's Hamlet, but it's a prodigal son, that you can go home, that mistakes can be forgiven, that you can still be who you're meant to be. I mean, that's why we watch movies, isn't it? It's for storytelling. I don't really worry about him watching movies and then not growing up to be a good person. I don't know. That's not how I view
No,
movies.
I'm not talking about like becoming a terrible person.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I guess that is technically how I actually deal
Yeah,
with
that's
movies.
why that's why I
I
was like,
just
I
see it
don't
as a joke.
okay, hey, I was trying to answer the question that you asked me.
So let's continue using the Grinch for a minute.
Okay.
So let's go down the rabbit hole. How far do you take this? Because like yeah, that's an easy, simple lesson to teach when you're describing it all at once. But when the Grinch is looking down over the city, or better yet, when the Grinch comes down in a Santa Claus outfit, um, to and starts stealing all the toys, like how do you explain that when your kid keeps asking why? I mean, because when you think about it, like, okay, why is he dressed like that?
So he's dressed like that because people trust Santa Claus and he's trying to fool the people into thinking that he is a good person, and he's not right now.
Why?
Because he's taking everybody's things, and you shouldn't take things that don't belong to you.
Why?
Because they might be important to somebody, and that could make them really sad if you take something that's important to them.
But why? Why is he stealing those?
Because he is a very sad person, and he wants other people to be sad because he thinks it will make him feel better.
Why?
Because sometimes people do things when they're upset or sad or lonely that hurt other people, even though it's not really going to make them feel better. And that's not the right way to do things.
So at some point, though, these questions get down to like the very root of existence, right? Like, why is a person bad?
Yeah.
And I guess the real question here is how far do you explain things to kids? Like, how honest are you actually? Because what I found that I've been doing, and I'm thinking maybe this isn't the best thing in the world,
Mm-hmm.
is that like I go further than they actually want me to go. And so it's like, okay, so why is he stealing that? Well, he's not a good person right now, and he's very hurt and sad and lonely, and subsequently, sad people sometimes make bad choices. Why? Well, because deep down inside, he wants them to hurt the way he hurts. Why? Well, because sometimes when you're alone, you want somebody else to be with you, and the only way he can make them feel like he's with them is to make them feel as bad as he like. I don't know, like how much of that is necessary
Well,
or beneficial.
I mean, beneficially, probably nothing because I barely understand 90% of what you're saying. So, and I'm an adult. I guess my point is, I think you explain it to whatever it's it's the adoption explanation. So my parents did that with me being adopted, right? They explained it in full on, like fucking just laid it out there. And me being a little kid was like, uh, eventually it was just kind of like, okay. And then as I got older, like it's there, right? The seed is planted because you're going to continue to answer questions. And then you can give the same answer, but they're going to understand it more and ask more complicated questions. I think it is probably better to err on the side of over explanation to a point, um, and let them kind of parse out where their limit is. Uh, I mean, I don't think you can really harm them by going too far in depth, unless you're like, the world is going to end in a fiery apocalypse by meteorite. I mean, you don't want to like freak them the fuck out unless that's the lesson you're trying to teach. But you can like give them a complex answer because I think kids will just shut off. They'll just be like, uh. Um,
You don't worry at you don't worry at all that when you're giving these complex answers, you're actually introducing the idea of like immortality in a sad place or something.
no, not right now because he doesn't get it. I,
Oh
I'm.
man.
I mean, so here's the thing. There's a level at which like I am probably going to be, like the whole thing where you're either too early or too late, and it depends on what side you're going to be on in that. I'm probably going to be on the too late side of knowing exactly how in depth he's understanding something, because that's just kind of where I default. Like, I'm not going to worry about, like, did I just introduce too much to my kid? Because if I do that, I think I'm actually not going to introduce enough. I'm going to hold myself in too much of a check because those ideas and concepts, even if I introduce them too early, I'd rather have them be introduced by me, his parent, than in some other way that I then have to like play defense against, if that makes sense. Which is kind of why I like movies. Like I'd rather him experience and ask questions about death because Mufasa dies in The Lion King, and explain, well, like people die and what that means, even if that kind of freaks him out a little bit, because better that than and better he has some understanding via that than maybe like the real life example. Like that concept is already put in place, which is what Sarah and I kind of realized when he asked, like, is Daddy Lion sleeping? Well, no, Daddy Lion is dead. And Miles just kind of like, okay, and didn't really understand what that meant, but you're planting the seed to eventually talk about it so that when they do get to that why phase, you can talk about it. And I do think kids just kind of shut off when they don't care or don't understand anymore. Um, an example of this, I think, because we both listened to this parenting podcast. One of the hosts of this podcast was talking about watching Raiders of the Lost Ark with their kids. Did you listen to that episode? Okay,
thoughts
and
about this too.
so right, and so did I, and I was like, but that person brought up a really good point. They said, they tried to explain all the problems with Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they basically, like, the kids were like, all right, whatever, this is cool. And I think that's kind of how it is, right? They're like, okay, great, I don't give a fuck, like Indiana Jones. And I was like, yeah, and that's probably what it's going to be like when you show these movies. You can talk about it. You can introduce these ideas of like only the white people are the heroes and the only minority in it isn't very heroic, and the strong woman is actually reduced to like still being a damsel in distress, and all of that's not good. But ultimately, your kid might just see like fun action movie and be done with it. It's like sometimes how I feel about violence in films. Some violence in films I think just goes over fucking kids' heads, and they don't even like realize it.
This is kind of at the root of my question to you.
Yeah.
You're right. I feel like there's two different levels that we're discussing. Is there's the
Hmm.
level of like they are actively aware of what you're talking about and what's happening, and then there is the subconscious level where these are just becoming norms that are ingrained within them that are understood, and the way that you react to them and that you discuss them is what will take root. Like
Hmm.
for example, with Raiders of the Lost Ark, like yeah, it is. Like I feel very strongly that it's important that you address and you address very clearly like the sexism, the toxic masculinity, like the racism, like all of the issues in a very clear, blunt, and over their head way as early as you start to watch that movie.
Hmm.
Because if you don't, then that's just their understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And with like, but at the same time, things like Tangled, as I'm talking about, like I don't know if I needed to go all the way into. Well, they're like the girl has been taken away and whatever.
So let me flip it a different way. What's the problem with doing that? Like, what are you worried? Like, to be more clear, so you're like, I don't know if I needed to go that far in depth. Okay, fine, but what's the downfall of you doing that? Like, what negative came from you explaining like this is what happened, and they being like, okay, 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 and then watching the movie? What are you worried about?
And so from a very and this is a theoretical situation in
Hmm.
my eyes right now because nothing came from it. She hasn't, to my knowledge, been having nightmares about this.
Hmm.
But like my fear, of course, is that it's going to introduce the idea that mom and dad may not come back. Um, like mom and dad may not be here for me when I need them. And I feel like at 2 years old, maybe that's too early to introduce that idea. Like if something were to happen to us, she'll get that lesson and she'll get it hard, but she doesn't need it right now. Like we're never going to not be here for her. Like even if the worst things happen in our lives, our relationship, whatever, we are still both going to be there for her.
Hmm.
And so like I feel like that's one lesson that doesn't necessarily need to be introduced. Um, and so I guess that's the thing that I'm afraid of with how I explain things like that.
Okay, like so here's the thing. I get what you're saying and I understand like that fear, but in the same token, you can explain both of those things, right? You can say, well, here's what happened, and you can say sometimes bad things happen, but know that your mom and your dad will always do their best to always you can give that truth but also reassure, because at this age, I think you can say, but we'll always be here for you. We love you. We will always love you. Because even if something happens to you, the idea of love, like your kid understands that at this age, right? Um, you can say some, you know what I mean? So yes, sometimes like her something happened to her mom and dad, but that doesn't mean that they don't love her and miss her. And we love you, and we will always take care of you, because that you can expand upon. So even if she was like, well, what if something happens to me? You can say, well, if in a very unlikely event that something happens to your mom or I, like we've made sure that there's someone, these are the people who will take care of you and love you. You can keep giving them extra reassurances, um, and still give them truth. Like that's what's great about being a parent, right? So like with Miles, well, what if something happens to us? Well, you know, that probably won't happen, but if it does, you have Uncle Chris and Aunt Erin and Uncle Clint and Aunt Maggie and your mom, you mean your Oma and your Opa and your grandma and your grandpap. Like you have all these people who love you, that even if for some reason we can't be there, which would be sad, you have all these people who would still love you and that you know and you love, right? Yeah. Okay. And like, yes, that you might plant that seed, but like that seed's going to be planted, and it's how you deal with it. I think you can both use it as a reassurance moment and also this life moment that you are giving her. I think you can do both, because I think if we constantly worry about what's going to scare our kid or what's going to affect our kid or what's going to like give them a complex isn't the right word, I'm using the wrong word, then we're going to get paralyzed by this a lot, and we miss the opportunities to teach. That's just how I look at it, I guess. I understand your fear. Like, I'm totally not trying to disregard it. I totally get what you mean. But I think there's the other side of it too. How do you explain that, but then buffer it so it makes it safe and okay and build that safety net for them?
And that makes perfect sense. It really does.
I watch your wife do that. That's how I know. It's true though, but watch her talk to Thea or one of the kids, when she answers a complex question, but then can, cushion it, because that's what you get to do with kids. You have to like
Oh yes,
put that net.
definitely. I watch. I take notes. I
Yeah.
have a journal that I'm like, okay,
the
so
Miss
this
the
is
Miss
when
Aaron
she's
journal.
supposed to. Okay, so how many minutes is she supposed to be in timeout when she goes into timeout? Wait, 1 minute per year. Okay,
Yes.
and what's the verbiage I'm supposed to use? Oh, this isn't supposed to be a bad thing. I'm not supposed to make a timeout a bad thing, but it only happens when she's being bad. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna think, okay, no, it's not supposed to be a bad thing. No,
Break. You're taking a break. You just need a little break. You need a little time. You need a little time.
um,
I actually think you're doing the right thing. I really do. I think by going too far in depth in that way, I honestly think that's the right parenting thing to do. And it's using movies, I think, in the right, or games or whatever other medium, in the way that they're meant to be used.
and that has been my philosophy thus far. Like I definitely explain more to her than I think she's ready for and that she needs to know, which is probably why I'm going to have the kid that teaches all the other kids about penis and vagina and who knows what else. Um, and I don't know. I'm trying to find other like things that are supposed to be taboo topics, but either way, um, yeah. So I think it's going pretty well so far. I think
That's
it's
good.
like so far nothing bad has happened from this philosophy, but if it ever does, like that's a thought I have, like because I don't know, I because the other like not to as we're winding down the conversation, not to bring it right back,
That's a belabor the point.
but like when I think about the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark conversation,
Yeah.
there's also an argument to be made that by discussing it, you're actually introducing the racism into the conversation. So like, because at this age, they're probably not aware of racism because all those kids at school, like, they're all colors, all cultures, all whatever, and they don't dislike each other because of any of this stuff. But the
T-
second you start to converse about it, it becomes, oh wait, this is something that maybe I shouldn't be
Liz,
thinking is a problem.
no, you're totally right. Because when I heard that point about Raiders, and I love the Indiana Jones movies, and I love them as kids, and I still do. And like, they're on that list of movies that I'm like, oh man, I cannot wait to watch this with my son. Because to me, growing up, I mean, they were just fun. Like, it's just fun. And then I listened to this topic, and I was like, oh fuck, man. I'm like, you just fucked Raiders of the Lost Ark for me. And I watched it not that long ago. And so I was thinking like, man, how do I watch this with my kid? And I think that first time you watch it, and maybe I'm wrong, like that first time you watch it, I might just let it be a pure experience. Like, just let them enjoy the movie, and then if they have questions, answer them, and then maybe use it as a learning tool when you go back, because again, like, those topics and things are really important to talk about. And I think that, I mean, you and I have discussed this as well. Having a boy, I think it is incredibly important, especially like, if it's like a white straight dude, where you have, just what we are, shitty people.
Sure.
So I want to be able to use those tools and talk to him, but I also still want to have enjoyment in the movie, because once you introduce that, once you go down that road, if they get it, there's no coming back from it. Like, I'm never going to be able to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark the same way after having someone who's arguably smarter than me point those things out, and then you're like, oh, yeah,
And it
yeah,
turns out this is an incredibly problematic show. Yeah.
yep,
Okay. Yep.
yep.
This is all over for me.
Yep, but I still want, like, I'm fine using it as a teaching tool for my son when he's able to understand it, but it's still a fun movie. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's still, there is something magical about those superhero movies in general, right? Like, every superhero movie you watch, across the board is all toxic masculinity. That's what fucking comic books are. And so not all of them.
Oh god, that's a whole conversation
I
for
know.
another day, I think. But
T-
I
I
don't know.
I can see some of it. I get your point. Like, do you introduce it too early? Do you introduce those things too early and then introduce something that might not have been there otherwise? And then,
And then do you explain the issues while you're explaining the fact that you enjoy it?
yeah. And I think that's why maybe in that situation, like with a movie like that, or even like Star Wars to an extent, maybe you just watch it first and then when you go back and rewatch it again, be like, all right, let's talk about this film a little bit more. Because then they like it and you can get them to watch it again and have that conversation as opposed to like watch the movie and be like, all right, so now that you watched this movie that you really liked, let's talk about all the shitty things in it. I guess maybe because movies are so important to me, I kind of would fall on the point of like watch it, answer any questions they have off the bat, then when you go back to rewatch it, maybe have that longer conversation when they can have understanding. Or if they ask you a question about race or about like why is things this way, be like, you know what, let's go back and watch Indiana Jones and then we can talk about it and what did you see? You know what I mean? Like then you have the end. You'd be like, you remember that movie we watched? You like? Let's go back and rewatch it and talk about like why this is problematic or why like Princess Leia might be problematic in Star Wars at points, right? Like,
Sure.
maybe
Have
that's
you
the way to do it.
started your preparation for Star Wars and how to explain why the Jedi are the good guys?
No, I haven't. I did think about the shoot first thing on the beginning of episode 4. Like that, I've pretty much worked out in my head, but I have not worked out the Jedi being the good guy thing.
No, because there was an argument not too long ago that I heard about why perhaps the Empire had it right. And I started thinking about it and I was like, well, I mean, with the exception of all the violence and whatnot, if you're a leftist, yeah, you kind of agree with that philosophy. Because ultimately, the Jedi are kind of fighting for anarchy in many ways.
Are they though? Because the Jedi helped uphold the original Republic. Like they were the protectors of the Republic.
If you include the original trilogy, sure. But effectively, what they're doing,
It's
like
canon.
the
It's canon.
Jedi, it is canon. But at the same time, if you go by the original trilogy that we all love and adore, um, then you look at it and all you really know for the most of it is okay. There's the rebellion against the Empire because they're evil. But like I don't know, it's I don't like I'm not saying I agree with it, but I've just started thinking about that a lot lately. And it's like, well, if you want to overthrow all badness, the only way to do that is with a giant galactic empire. You're gonna need somebody to enforce that. Huh.
But the empire becomes tyrannical, and there's the issue. It's not the government; it's the tyranny of it. The tyranny, Chris. The tyranny.
Absolutely, they are the bad ones. I agree.
That's why they have to shoot first when they come on the ship. Um, it's funny. I think that a lot of conversations we're gonna have as movies become more because we both watch them a lot. As our kids ask more questions about movies, I think are gonna come up more and more. And it's definitely I never thought it would really change how I watch movies, but it's starting to. Like how you view a movie and how you decide what your kid's ready for or not ready for um, is definitely starting to come in my forefront more and more as he actually, like wants to watch movies. Um, but I think it's cool. I don't know. I think it's good ways to teach lessons and have these conversations.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We've been talking about this for a while, so we should probably start moving into some of our other stuff. And it appears that we have some emails this week.
Really?
We do, or at least we have correspondence. Maybe that's what we need to start changing this to is correspondence.
Correspondence. Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and start off with. Have you been able to find the document?
No, it did not open. The document did not open on my phone.
I really wanted you to read mine. All right. I'm going to go ahead and read the email from Tom in Illinois.
Okay.
Hey guys, I feel I owe you an apology since it was a little unclear where exactly I was directing my angst following the Star Wars holiday episode. The producer garbage comment was directed at Starship's producer for not burying that track. Starship being Starship. What the hell's the name of that band?
Uh, I
Starship?
I found the email by the way.
Jefferson Starship?
Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Starship. I knew it was a J. Anyway, for not burying that track, or really anything they've done outside of Jane before they left the studio.
It's
eagerly
producer.
await every new episode. That having been said, I'm still a little salty that Nick thinks I'm a Starship fan. I'd like to reiterate my suggestion from Facebook post that Nick listen to 80s metal albums for your next special, and I would be more than happy to curate the list. Let me know your thoughts. Keep up the good work, Tom.
Let me answer Tom on this 80s question. There's no fucking way I'm ever going to subject myself to a marathon of 80s hair bands unless we do some kind of charity and earn a certain amount of money for charity. Then I'll do it. Then I'll do it, Tom.
Hey, to me that sounds like a promise to listen to 80s hairband music live on the air for charity.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah.
Next up,
Here you go. Here you go. Here you go, Tom. Tom from Illinois. You pick a really good charity, and we'll set a thing. And if we reach it, I will listen to whatever list of music you want to curate, and Chris and I will talk about it on air.
wait.
Oh
Why
yeah.
did I get dragged into this?
Oh no.
There's nothing in this that says
because
I have to
because
do it,
it's
right?
it's two dumb dads, and so we have to do it together. So anyway,
I don't like
that's
this.
there you go, Tom. There you go.
I don't like it.
Do you want me to read the next email because I have it pulled up?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So this is from Mike. The title is White Christmas Holiday Inn episode. Oh, my favorite. I forget what I dubbed it. I'm a little behind. Just listen to this episode. I'm probably incredibly biased since I played the Bing Crosby character in the stage musical version, but I think you guys missed something on White Christmas, particularly the sexist marriage above career angle. Before we even met the ladies in the movie, Phil, Danny Kaye, is talking to Bob Crosby in the dressing room about settling down with someone and getting married. Judy, Vera Ellen, wants Betty, Rosemary Clooney, to meet someone as well, and she assumes Betty is just being an overprotective older sister and doesn't want to get into a serious relationship because it might break up the sister act and leave Judy behind / alone. That's why she fakes the engagement with Phil. I never saw this particular plot point as a sexist thing, just a classical single people should date thing, which I guess you could argue is problematic, but obviously still a trope in use today. I don't really remember the idea of their careers being over once they were dating / married, but maybe I've forgotten that. Also, Chris is right. The movie is funny. While watching it this holiday season, I lamented that we don't have a ton of movies these days with quick back and forth that this kind of movie had. Anyone want a collabo on a throwback song and dance movie script? Oh, collaborate. Got it. Anyone want to collaborate on a throwback song and dance movie script? Phil, my dear partner, when what's left of you gets around to what's left to be gotten won't be worth getting. Whatever it is you've got left, when I figure out what that means, I'll come up with a crushing reply. I'm very glad I won't have to hear Nick say, "Wasp, there it is, waspy Christmas again for a while." Smiley face.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you to no end. That is by far the best comment we got on Facebook. I just want to thank you, Mike. You are my own personal favorite listener now, especially because you don't ever want to hear Nick say "Waspy Christmas."
Oh, you mean Waspy Christmas, like those two movies we watched?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Um, So, I think I told you when we did that episode, though, just to address this email, that I did actually enjoy White Christmas when it was all said and done. Like, that of the two, I was like, okay, I get why this is enjoyable. It's not like my favorite Christmas movie in the world, but like, I get it. I get it. The music's good. It made me laugh. The one actor I really liked that's not Bing Crosby. I do like Bing Crosby. I like the other guy a lot.
I
Um,
was gonna say, yeah, don't like no. This is an amazing movie. You can't disparage this movie.
oh,
It's wonderful.
no, it's not. I mean,
I mean,
what
yes, it's problematic and everything. So hold
wonderful
on,
subject.
I wanna take a look at this whole argument that that Mike's making with the whole conversation not being a sexist trope or whatever. Um, the one thing I would say, and I completely agree with Mike, and I really appreciate the comment. Um, is that this is absolutely still very much a trope that is used today. You see it all over the place. You see it routinely used. And
I think you're totally right. I think, I mean, again, we could get into the whole society, like it's definitely still society that way. I mean, a great example would be um, when I talk to like my students, right, and we're having conversations, be like, oh yeah, my wife makes way more than me, which she does because she's baller at her job. And you can still see some students be like, wait, huh, what? Like their mind, like you just see it like their brain just kind of like fries a little bit, um, because it still goes against norms, and we still, I think we're just starting to push against that in popular TV and film. I think that's still relatively new. I mean, within like our viewing lifetime, you know what I mean? That you're seeing more of these like female-driven shows where the woman in it is career-driven, and like that is what her drive is, and like the other stuff is ancillary, which for men has been what TV and film has been for, I mean, what, forever? Yeah, I completely agree, and that's where that movie's dated, right? Like that's where you really feel the datedness of the film, that and its view of war. But we talked about that. What's MRS? Oh, okay. Oh, got it. Okay. No, I think so. I mean, I even think as like a dad, I don't know how much we've touched on this. Like, I mean, maybe you don't, but like I always have that like back twinge of guilt that like I don't. Yeah, I do a lot, but I don't do. It's not in the traditional way that like you've seen or been raised with, right? And even though I intellectually know like, well, that's bullshit. Like you don't have to have these defined quote unquote gender roles or parenting roles. Like every family's different and unique, and it's still there, right? Like society's still kind of like planted that seed that like, well, if you don't do this, then you're not actually providing in the proper way, even if you do other things. And that shows how powerful that really is. Mhm. Well, yeah. Well, that's what I meant. You said it better than me. I mean the same thing that you're saying, but that you feel like even though the sacrifice you make for that money is to do all of these other things for your family that might have traditionally been like a working mom's role. Like my mom and dad, right? Like my dad definitely made more money than my mom. My mom still worked. Um, I'm sure she wished she could have made more too, but she did all the other shit, like, everything. Um, but I think that thought process is different. It's weird. It's ingrained in a weird way. I'm trying to express it, but I think you're right. I'm agreeing with you in a long-winded way. Thanks for the Facebook message, Mike. I do. I have a question from N. Westmeyer that says, Chris, why is your beard so glorious? Okay. 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 Mm. It looks manicured. I mean, listen, I had a beard and then I went to trim it and I trimmed too much of it off, so I'm back to scruff again. No, because there's still some there. I just, I Listen, I've never really had a beard before, and I went to try to shape it and trim it a little bit because it was getting a little unruly in parts, and it ended up just kind of coming off. I failed.
It's okay. It's a different thing.
Can I tell you how cold my face was the next day? I had no idea.
Freezing.
I had no idea how much warmth that beard was providing my face. And mine's a shitty beard. I can't imagine what yours does.
Just imagine that in the summer.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be gross.
So if you want to reach out to us, you can reach us at emails at twodumdads. If you have any questions, comments, please let us know how the audio quality is coming through on the some of the live versions. I'm seeing comments from somebody that says that at least on Facebook Live that only one of the mics is working or was working. So I don't know if that's something that was going on before or now or what's going on. But either way, let me know. Let me know how it's working, and we'll see if we can't keep working you get this working for you.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
So again, that's emails at twodumdads. That's the number twodumdads.com. And of course, you can post Facebook comments and all that good stuff, and we'll be sure to read them out for you. But that being said, that brings us to the part of the show that we call recommendations. This is where we make a recommendation for you about something.
Thanks.
I'll go ahead and go first because I know
Okay.
what Nick's is, and I feel like I really want to find out more about it. And so mine will be nice and quick because I'm going to make him discuss it later. So my recommendation for this week is a book. It's a wonderful book. It's a really lovely book with terrific art. It's called Pandora by Victoria Turnbull. It is a beautiful story about a little fox girl I'm basically going to read you the story now.
Okay.
A little a little fox girl who lives alone in like basically a dump, a garbage dump, until a little birdie comes and gets hurt there. It's a beautiful story that is the most heartbreakingly sad thing I've ever read.
Did you explain it to Thea?
I did.
So listen, sometimes, Thea, when the world ends,
Oh no, I went deep. I was like, well, you see, Thea, I think this is actually kind of a metaphor for depression. And you see, as the little fox girl is laying in bed, sad and alone, what's happening is that the world is growing. Oh no, I went deep into this.
you went deep, deep.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, well, philosophically, if you look at Charles Young, um, then it was a great story though. It's a great story. It's really fun. No, it's not fun. It's actually horribly depressing and sad, but it's a really good story. The art's
Nice.
wonderful, and I think it ends on a really nice note. I want to encourage you to check out Pandora by Victoria Turnbull, and that's my recommendation.
Awesome. So my recommendation for this week is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Um, it's fucking amazing. It is. It is. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think it might be uh, the best superhero slash comic book movie that I have ever seen. Better than the first Superman movie, which is still my favorite.
All right, so this is so. I, of course, I first off, I don't know how you went to go see this. I don't know how you found the time, but that being said, you clearly did find the time. And what I want to know
I had one day off where I didn't have to teach, and I went.
that's helpful. That would be good. So the one thing when I look at this movie, I go, okay, this looks so cool, but it looks almost overly comic booky. Like they have like all the abstract, weird. Like they don't just have Miles Morales; they have all the other weird, abstract Spider-Man
Oh,
characters.
dude, that's it's so good.
And I believe it, and I believe it. But all I can think of is like it seems like a cartoon, like a 30-minute cartoon show. I'm not sure how they're going to make that last for a 2-hour film.
It's I don't I because you're gonna see it, so I don't want to ruin it. Um, I will say, I'll put it this way: it is Miles Morales' origin story. Um, uh, it's just really well done. So I was reading after I saw it, I was reading some reviews about it because it did get stellar reviews as well. And one reviewer said this better than I
Nick,
could.
go ahead. Give us the obligatory Rotten Tomato score. I know this is
It's 100%.
the
Anyway,
only way you can possibly acknowledge whether or not a show is good is whether or not it's okay on Rotten Tomatoes. So
no, I like using Rotten Tomato like I like analytics in sports. It gives you a general idea of what the consensus is of people who do this for a living. Um,
and you know what happens with analytics in sports? You get the same team everywhere, and it becomes
Did the Cubs win a World Series with the help of analytics? Yeah, shut your mouth. So anyway, this reviewer put a really good point that I actually agreed with. Sometimes in comic book movies, in live action films, you just can't do everything that you want to do. You can't make stylistic choices because you're trapped somewhat in reality. When you do something in animation, it frees up, it allows you to make a lot of strong choices. And you're right. Some of the animation is, in fact, like looking at a comic book. Do you remember watching the Ang Lee Incredible Hulk where he did the split screen comic panels and how he got like just demolished for it? And I didn't like it stylistically either because it just felt it didn't feel grounded in realism, which is what you're doing with a film, even if they're unreal characters. You can do that in animation because you've already let go of that medium, and the animation is so different and so unlike what you're used to watching that it's incredible. And it brings you into this great world where you feel like you're both watching a movie, but you're also in a comic book. Like it runs that gamut really brilliantly. Aside from like being well written with good voice acting, and it's cool to watch Miles Morales. It was fucking great. It was great. I can't say that enough. It's fun. It's good for like. It's a good one that I think you can watch with your kid because even as a younger kid, because it's really bright too in a lot of ways because of the animation style. So just that I think can bring a kid in. It's a good comic movie for a kid. Like there's some action. There's a lot of action, but there's also some like heavier again with our topic heavier stuff you'd have to talk about with your kid and explain. But it's fun and it deals with like again a kid getting these powers and what that means. It does a good job explaining multiverse in comic books. It deals with that, which I think is awesome. So yeah, it's a combination of the Ultimates when Miles Morales is introduced and a little bit of an original story. They do both. So they explain why Miles Morales is the Spider-Man and the Ultimates. They explain that. They don't explain how Miles Morales is in the main content. Yes. Yeah. So, but great. So sorry, that's the only spoiler I'll give is that does happen, but not the way that you think. Right, right. Yeah. So they go into that. So I will tell you, like Miles Morales is in the Ultimate world. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And listen, I knew that was going to happen in the comics, but I wasn't ready. Yeah, it's great. It deal. Shut your mouth. Listen, we know the multiverse works because DC does it in the sub to you. Listen, don't you dock me. Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's one of the best comic movies I've seen. I really hope it wins the Academy Award. I really do. And I loved Incredibles too. So, but that was hands down fantastic. No, there's a lot, and let's see. This year we've got Incredibles 2, you've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you've got I was just looking at all of them because I've seen the bulk of them. Fuck. I'm trying to watch some of them because I have some access to some SAG screeners because yeah, I did watch one of the Oscar films last night with Sarah. We watched Green Book, and I know that there's been some problematic things people with that movie, but I will say this: the performances in that Viggo Mortensen and I'm gonna say his name wrong. I'm so sorry. Mm, I'm sorry. I'm gonna look it up so I say it correctly. Yes, yes. He is sorry. He is a beautiful actor to watch. He's so fucking good. I mean, Viggo Mortensen is also really fucking good, but like, I'm this is like I it is. Lots of fucking people. It is, but it his work is so effortless and just dynamic to watch on screen. And I knew that about him, but this role you just get a lot of him, and he's just he is a beautiful actor to watch. It's worth it just for his performance. And Viggo Mortensen's
Yeah, The Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and
oh, that was
Stop
good
Motion
too.
Animation. Isle of Dogs is going to win, right?
No,
Being Wes Anderson and being stop motion
no,
animation.
no, dude. Incredibles 2 is gonna win because it's Pixar. Pixar's a fucking giant and always wins. Like, tell me the last time Pixar didn't win when they were up for an Academy Award.
Man, I couldn't tell you the competition or anything else, but yeah, no, I see your point. All right, we should probably end this because we're starting to go on a tangent about Oscar-nominated films. So if you want to reach us, you can always find us at two dumb dads or emails at twodumbdads.com. That's emails at the number two dumbdads.com. You can find me at all the places that we're currently live. You can find me on Facebook. You can at Chris Moss. You can find me on Twitch at Rampant55, and on Twitter at Chris Moss again.
You can find me at nwestemeyer on Twitter, at nwestemeyer on Instagram. You can find me also at our Instagram at Two Dumb Dads, and you can find both of us floating around the Facebook page or Facebook group. Sorry, group.
And of course, you can find us at our website, twodumbdads.com. So that's going to do it for this live episode of the Two Dumb Dads podcast. Let us know how we did. And as always, be well.
Later.